Hello and welcome to my channel. I'm Tiffany, a retired librarian turned homeschool mom. And in this video, we're going to be looking at one of the last little pieces of the Last Apprentice series. This case, we're going to be looking at the Spooks Bestiary. So this is a supplement. This is not a story in and of itself. It is an explanation of the various creatures of the dark that Jonathan Gregory and Tom have interacted with over the course of their careers, particularly John Gregory. So you get, besides some of the explanation of different creatures, you get some notes from Tom Ward, some of the other apprentices of John Gregory. You get his story of how he interacted with Meg, who was the Lima witch that he had fallen in love with. So you get the full story of that. You get some of the other explanations of different things. So it is very, very interesting. It's a very interesting read. Now, on top of this, of course, you're dealing with some of the Greek myth stuff. So they talk about, and not Selkies, you're dealing with Scottish myths as well. But you deal with harpies and different other creatures. Because, again, this book series deals with Greece, Ireland, what his stands for the Isle of Man, and slightly I think they're dealing with some Scottish myths, because again you're bringing in Selkies here as well. So, and you deal with, they also mentioned the creatures that he end up in the book. I can't remember whether it's 9 or not. Or maybe it's 11, but the Slither's Tale, where he talks about these creatures as well. So, again, it's very, very interesting. He actually mentions dragons in this and how he really much bases this. The author is from Lancaster County, England, not the United States. This is England. This is Bogart country, as he describes it. This is where he's getting his stories from. So a lot of these are rooted in Welsh and Old English, Scottish, and Irish myth. So the idea of the dragon wrapped around the giant mountain is very much from this specific culture. And again, we're talking some of the medieval stuff, because if you want to place this historically where the book series sets, it's right kind of before the Industrial Revolution. So it's post-serfdom, kings and knights, in that little area in between. Not really where the Renaissance are either. So we're kind of before that. So basically late Middle Ages, I think, would be the best explanation of the time period, because again, they use candles. There's very little technology here. So you're still using an ink pen and things, but they do have books. So they're not writing on scrolls. So books are in existence. So again, it's kind of that late Middle Ages, maybe early Renaissance era. But again, it's very, very fiction. So we're still dealing with Bogarts. Bogarts, he talks about Bogarts. He goes extensively into witches and dealing with them. You get some of the stories of how he's dealt with different things. You got some of Bill Allwright's stories of how he dealt with certain creatures. And again, you have notes from different apprentices. You have notes from Bill when Bill Allwright was an apprentice. You have notes from Tom. You get, again, they're extensively talking about different witches. You talk about the Grimalkin. You talk about her predecessors a little bit as well. There's different notes. This is the collection that it's the only surviving book that is after the library is destroyed. So you do, it is recommend, read the book series first, because this reveals some stuff. You won't really understand it unless you've read the book series first. So it is a very interesting supplement. I do recommend it. It's obviously not as dark as the book series, because again, this is an academic book. This is, you're talking about the witches and the Bogarts and how to defeat them. So he goes into detail on how to get rid of these things. This is the book that in the book series, Tom Ward periodically goes back to, because this is part of his training where he's reading the different sections as they deal with the different creatures. So you also deal with the demons, different things like selkies and harpies and fire elementals and earth elementals. There's a few stories at the end of unexplained deaths. You deal with a lot of the witches. There's a huge chapter on the witches. It goes into the Romanian witches. It goes into the vampire creatures. It goes into a lot of this stuff. So it's really, really interesting as a supplement to the book series. So it gives into a little bit more detail of some of these different creatures. It also brings up creatures that aren't mentioned in the book series. So you get a little bit more knowledge there. And again, it's a really good supplement to the book series if you want to. It's obviously not necessary. It's not part of the continuing story. But it is a good supplement to add to the lore if you really do get into this book series. I enjoyed this. I did not enjoy the book series, but it got really, really dark. It got really, really dark. It got very, very dark and far too dark for me. As a reaction to what I ended up, and you'll see these videos posted early in next year. The Princess Diaries is the next major book series that I read. That is an effort of what on earth this book series did to me. This is one of the last videos doing. I think I have to redo the short stories. For some reason, my video got lost, so I need to redo those. But nonetheless, it was a really, really good book series. So again, this is a great supplement with all these weird, interesting details. If you're not necessarily into the book series, you might want to. The only interest I would have, if you have any interest in British and Scottish and even a little bit of not Romanian. It's nothing to do with Romania. I don't think the author knows much about Romania. Transylvania, having spent there many years, they don't like vampires. They like the mention of vampires, not really, but Greece and the British Isles, because that's really where this story has its base. So it talks about some of the fictional stuff. And again, it's mythology. So this is where he's getting his tale. Some of, course, is completely made up. It's complete fiction. So, though I suspect that some of it, because of where he comes from, Lancaster County in England, this is the lore that he would have grown up with, given the area where he's living. So, and again, it's very much rooted in the marshes and the country, as he calls it in his book series, which is pretty much where the story is based. If you're thinking about where the heck is this land talking about, it's probably where he comes from in Lancaster County. So that's the county he's referring to. And again, they talk a little bit about Ireland in the book series, as well as he calls it a different name, I think Morna or something. I can't remember off the top of my head, but it's replicating the Isle of Man in I think the Irish Sea. So, and again, they also talk about Ireland in this book series. So this is where that lore is coming from. And again, great supplement. So that's really it for this video. It's not that long. I did it in ebook form just because I couldn't get a hold. My library didn't have a physical copy, and I'm not going to go after it. Not worth it. So, despite the fact that it is a very good supplement after I have read it. So that's really it, again, for this video. If you like what you see, be sure to check out, if you haven't, the entire rest of the book series. So it's 13 off the top of my head. This is being filmed in the end of March of 2022. Most of my videos for this book series was filmed at the end of 2021. So while you guys are watching this in the end of 2022, I was filming most of those videos in 2021 at the end of it anyway. So it's been a while since I've looked at the entire book series, so let alone the videos. So again, watch the rest of the videos. Great book series if you really like the dark and gore. It's very, very well written. It's not my taste, because I don't like the dark and the gore. Horror is not my friend, but I do still recommend this series for people who do. It's very horror, it's very dark, it's very gory. Again, I periodically mention this. This is late elementary, middle school. If your kids are young, you could probably read this aloud. Again, if they are big on the horror, if you would read your child Stephen King, go right ahead. If they like the dark parts of The Hobbit, again, go ahead. And yeah, I'm covering that too early next year. I have a copy. I actually own a copy. I have to read through it again. We are covering The Hobbit, because of course we have to cover The Hobbit. Eventually I'll probably cover The Lord of the Rings, as well as the films. Yes, I have the extended editions. They're very good. but that's beside the point. Check out the rest of the channel as well. I have a lot already posted. There's a lot going on. I'm pretty sure this is coming out in November. Native American stuff is coming. There's a lot of stuff on Women in Flight coming around this month. The next book series I'm really covering, as I said, I'm covering the Princess Diaries. Coming in the early new year, I'm also covering some more Tamora Pierce and the Guardians of Ga'Hoole this year. So most of those videos are actually done at this point. So those are coming along with a whole lot more. Be sure to check out the rest of the line. I have a huge library by the time you guys see this. Besides the book and film reviews, I have some travel videos. There are some from some of the trips we've taken. More educational videos are coming. Hopefully by the time you see this, I'll have one or two. My daughter's, by the time you guys see this, she'll be preschool. She'll be about 3. She'll be a little over 3. So I'm hoping to get more academic stuff on here, particularly as time goes on. Along with, of course, more travel stuff if we can as the world opens up, as well as some other stuff. So other educational stuff is coming. So be sure to check out the rest of the channel. Like and subscribe, leave a positive comment if you can, and look forward to more videos coming soon. Thank you.